We are talking science and technology today, and so I am joined with our guest, Brendan Alper. He is the app developer of Hater. It's a dating app that matches up people based on things that, well, they hate. So Brendan is joining us via Skype. Thank you so much for joining us. Founder, creator, app developer, and you're from Pawtucket, so local connection here, went to Brown University. Thanks so much for joining us, Brendan.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So pretty cool concept. So you guys went into beta, December, launched in February, and you've been really successful so far. How many users about do you have as of now?
We have just over 500,000 users, actually.
That's
so quite a few.
Pretty amazing. And so just reading the backstory of this and seeing how things have grown and progressed, you've been featured in Maxim, you've been featured on CBS Sunday Morning News, LinkedIn, Business Insider, TechCrunch, getting a lot of publicity. Just tell me a little bit about the app if people are interested in it, because it's a pretty interesting concept as a dating app.
Sure, yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's more than a technology story. People really think the concept is funny, but everyone intuitively knows that it really makes sense too. And I think because of the appeal of that story, we've spread around quite a bit.
Totally. So how did you come up with this concept? So I came up with the concept originally as kind of a comedy sketch. It was originally almost a joke I was writing, and then the more I thought about it, the more I realized this thing could actually work as a real app, and set off to build it. No kidding. So just looking at what's on there, and we were just talking, I have, right now it's only available for iPhone users, but you said coming out with the Android, so looking forward to that. But just some of the things that people match up on, like bathtub hair, like in the drain, 2016 political election, paying for guacamole. Yep. Talk to me just a little bit about some of the dislikes that people match on and how you came up with that.
Sure, yeah. So the list is around 3,000 topics long right now. And basically every time I talked to someone and told them about the app, they would just immediately start rattling off things they hated. So I just kept a little notebook, and I would just, go put them in the app after I talked to them. So that's how we came up with pretty much all of the topics. Let's see, I have the topics that Rhode Islanders hate, if you guys want to know that.
Yes, totally. Yes.
Rhode Islanders hate Vladimir Putin.
Okay.
All Lives Matter, tipping less than 15%, tech blogs, and girls on HBO.
And girls. This is amazing. So those are like the top ones that Rhode Islanders.
Those are the top 5 that Rhode Islanders hate more than everybody else.
That's amazing. I wonder if Rhode Islanders actually hate Vladimir Putin, or they hate hearing about it all the time.
I imagine it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, no kidding. So what was it like for you to be able to go in and to design an app?
Yeah, so it was definitely a learning experience. I had no idea how to do that when I first started, but I just started thinking, if you want to make an app around things that people hate, how do you get those opinions from people? And, Tinder had done a really good job of using the swipe to get your opinions on people. And I thought, well, why can't that just expand to everything else? And so that's kind of how I came up with the concept.
Yeah, no kidding. And it seems like a really easy to use interface, really involved, and you use emojis in there, which is kind of fun. So really simple to use, beautiful concept, beautiful interface. What's it been like in terms of the publicity of things, and in terms of whether it's user experience or people coming up to you, kind of feedback-wise?
Sure, yeah. I mean, people really love the app. It's a lot of fun to swipe on these topics, and people almost have more fun doing that than actually swiping on people. And so a lot of this feedback that we're getting is that people want to use it not just as a dating app, but maybe, people who are in a relationship want to play around with it too. And so we're working on more social features to kind of open that pool up to everyone else.
Yeah, so as you kind of take it from that dating aspect and moving into the social, what are kind of plans and goals as you move forward?
Sure, yeah. One big plan is to, first of all, we're rolling out for Android soon. Right now we're only out for iPhone, but in August the Android version should be ready.
Cool. and other things that are goals. We want to kind of increase the types of things that people can swipe on. So it's not just topics. Maybe you're swiping on a video or a GIF or an article or a restaurant, and make that even more fun to use.
Oh, awesome. I've heard that I used to do a lot of stuff in tech and reviewing apps and stuff. I've heard that it's easier to get into the Apple market rather than Android. Have you found that that's been the case, that it's been easier to get into that Apple world?
Certainly. Yeah, I think it depends on kind of what you're going for.
Yeah.
In the US, it's split pretty evenly. It is, I had an iPhone, so we started with iPhone.
Yeah.
But internationally, there's a lot more Android users, so if you want to kind of have a big presence overseas, it's critical to have Android as well.
When you went for the dating world, the dating industry, it's pretty business savvy. There's a good market out there, right?
Yeah.
Well, and in terms of the business facet of things, because you have a decent business background, were you looking at that? Were you looking at that potential?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a big market, and they're making a lot of money. But it is a competitive market. It is definitely very saturated with some big players, and that makes it hard to kind of penetrate into the market if you're a small guy and you don't have a lot of money. So we knew that there were a lot of challenges trying to get into the dating market, and I'd say that anyone thinking about starting a dating app, be very wary of how hard it is to get in because of that saturation problem. But we knew that if we could make a big splash right away, and we thought that we had the story to do that, that we maybe could carve out a little slice for ourselves.
Do you feel like you've done that so far? I mean, you've certainly garnered attention from big names out there.
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. We're certainly not as big as our competitors, but we're going to try our best to take on the giants.
Yeah, no kidding. What do you think has been the most interesting thing that you've learned, whether it's dislikes from people in other countries or just the process of creating an app? What do you think probably the most interesting thing that you've learned about this whole process has been?
Well, I think that we knew we were going to make a big splash in the U.S., or at least we hoped that we would. Yeah. But what we definitely didn't anticipate was that this thing was going to spread like it did to all different countries. Like our number one city is New York. Our number 2 city is actually Oslo.
Wow.
In Norway. And we have big presences in Stockholm, in Brazil, even in India. And so it's been crazy to see the hater story really take off in other places as well. I think that was the most surprising.
Is it almost kind of addicting that now that you have this, following the progression, following the story of this thing that you've created?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting and fun and exciting. It's also stressful. There's a lot of pressure, but we couldn't have hoped for a better start, and we're really excited to see this thing through.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Congratulations. What's the retention rate with something like this? I'm just kind of curious. We all download apps on our phone and we all kind of play around with it, and then
Sure.
you kind of forget about it, or you delete it, right?
Yeah, so it heavily depends on how many users you have in a certain region. Like in New York and Oslo, our retention is very good. But in other places where we don't have as many users, particularly in other countries that don't speak, not everyone speaks English,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of rural areas, not kind of city areas, our retention isn't as good. But one interesting thing is we have this new mode in the app called Global Mode, where you can match with people from all around the world instead of just matching people from near you. And the retention there is very good. People like to meet people from all around the world and communicate, even though it's not really about dating. That's kind of like the social shift that I was talking about. And it's interesting to see that those users are sticking around.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that idea and that concept that you're able to communicate and chat and meet up based on things you don't like with people all around the world. Do you have any stats? I don't know if you have any on hand, but kind of some things that people, on New York and Oslo, that things in common that we don't like?
Let's see. Things in New York and Oslo. I can pull those for you. Off the top of my head, I know that a lot of New Yorkers actually don't like the Mets, which is pretty funny. New Yorkers also hate slow walkers, which is
100%.
it's pretty universally hated, but New Yorkers in particular really don't like slow walkers. There's a lot of hate for the subway and other public transportation there, I think, which is understandable. But yeah, it kind of hurts because I am a slow walker, so but like 95% of people on the app hate slow walkers, so it doesn't feel very good.
Oh, yeah. Has anybody taken things personally? Have you had any feedback about that? I mean, do you get like negative anything?
We do occasionally. A lot less than I was expecting, to be honest. I think people kind of get the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of politically charged stuff on the app, but in general, we're not trying to take a political stance. It's just it's just a place to voice your opinions, and honestly, we want to bring people together with humor. We don't want to kind of create divides. That's not the point here.
Cool. I like that. Have you had any cool love stories blossom?
Yeah, definitely. We've had a lot, including a few of my friends actually.
Oh no way! That's cool.
Yeah, that's really when it became real to me. When one of my friends started dating someone from the app, became more than just like a video game. But we had this right after a few weeks after the Super Bowl, we had this woman reach out, and she said that she's dating someone pretty seriously that she met on the app because they both hated the Super Bowl, and they both really liked queso dip. And so on the Super Bowl, they got together, and instead of watching, they watched a movie and they made queso dip together. So I thought that was pretty representative of Hater.
True love, right?
Exactly.
True love. Interesting to know. I wonder if they were Patriots fans or not Patriots fans, or.
I hope they better have been Patriots fans.
Right, exactly. That's interesting. So you're working on developing this to be geared more socially involved. I like that concept. The Android version coming out in August, you just mentioned. Any plans to come home and visit Rhode Island anytime soon, do you think?
Oh, I'm there all the time. My folks still live in Pawtucket. I'm a Brown alum, so I go back for the reunion every 5 years. So yeah, I'm around a lot.
Cool.
Swing by.
Yeah, so we extend the invite for you to come visit us here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. As you move forward, what are your plans come next? Because obviously you had a success with this hit. Any big plans for the future?
Sure, yeah. We're definitely going to work on the app a lot. We've got a few exciting TV opportunities that have been cropping up, and more to come on that in the future. But yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening for Hater, so we're happy.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, keep us in the loop on that. I know you'll get us updated so we can continue following your path of success story. Brendan Alper, founder of Hater, congratulations, and let us know how you're doing. We'll keep in touch.
Excellent. Thanks so much
Great.
for having me.
Thanks so much for chatting with us. We'll talk to you soon.